we not only have to report the news, we have to stand up for the truth, and we also have to, make it very clear to the American people and try to make it clear to this administration that, we can't be bullied, we can't be intimidated, we have to continue to do our jobs.
Now, Jim Acosta, I've often objected in print and on the air to the use of the term enemy of the people, most recently in the Washington Post last week. I know the etymology of it. Have you read Arthur Koestler's Darkness at Noon?
I have not, no.
How about The Gulag Archipelago or One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich?
One Day in the Life of, yes, that book I've read. Read that one back in high school, as a matter of fact. Listen, obviously there's a huge difference between the situation in the United States and what went on under the Soviet Union. But make no mistake, the President of the United States should not be employing terms like the enemy of the people. And, we saw this during the campaign, and I lay it out in the book. The President, then candidate Donald Trump, referred to us as the disgusting news media, the dishonest news media. He rolled that behavior right into the Oval Office and escalated those attacks, calling us fake news and the enemy of the people and so on. And Hugh, my feeling at the time as this administration began was that this was basically an act. That the president was trolling and taunting us, and that this hostility towards the press has just gotten out of his control. And I write about this in the book. At one point after a news conference in February 2017, a news conference where the president referred to me as very fake news, I got a phone call shortly after that press conference from Hope Hicks, and she said, "Well, Jim, I just want you to know that the president thought you were very professional today," and the president said, "Jim gets it." Well, why are they calling me and praising me on the phone after a press conference where the president is frustrated and calls us very fake news? In the beginning of the administration, I think this was an act. But as we saw over the course of the last 2 years, they've gotten very frustrated with us, very angry with us, and that hostility has been absorbed by some Trump supporters. Not all, the vast majority are wonderful people, but there are some self-described Trump supporters who have lashed out at us in ways that make us feel endangered, and this is not an exaggeration. There are reporters and anchors who cover this president who have absorbed a lot of death threats and threatening messages. And my message in this book, one of the overarching messages of this book, is that just has to stop. We can't cross into a situation where the press doesn't feel safe doing its job in the United States.
Do you think the press that would be identified as center-right or conservative faces the same number of threats as those that are identified as center-left or left-wing?
I can't calculate it. I know what's happened to me, and I know coming into my social media accounts almost on a weekly basis, there's a death threat or a threatening message. When the pipe bomb was sent to CNN and Democratic officials around this country, after that person was arrested in a white van covered in anti-media signage, we discovered by going through his social media accounts that he had directed about 9 different tweets at me. Some of them included death threats. One included an image of a decapitated goat's head with the message, "You are next, you are the enemy of America." As that person said in court in front of a federal judge, I was just trying to scare people at CNN. We were worried about what was going on. But you know what? Reporters should not have to have bodyguards when they go to cover Trump rallies. This has gotten out of control. The climate's out of control. And my concern is, and I think it's a concern that could be shared by Democrats, Republicans, no matter what party you're in, we can't have a situation where a reporter is hurt or, God forbid, killed in this country just trying to do his or her job.
Who do you blame for the softball field killer who wounded Steve Scalise and would have wiped out most of the Republican delegation, a Bernie Sanders supporter? Whom do you blame for that individual?
It's an excellent question, Hugh, and I blame this climate that we're in right now in this country. We're at each other's throats. And as I write in the book, towards the end of the book, I don't want to give it away, but I essentially end with the message, we just got to get back to a place where we have more faith in one another. Even if that means for somebody on the left having faith in somebody in a red MAGA hat or somebody on the right having faith in somebody in a pink resist T-shirt. We're all on the same team. We're all Americans. I am not your enemy. You are not my enemy. And, Hugh, some folks may accuse me of writing this book for the resistance. I'll tell you, if you read this book, I'm writing this book also for the Republicans. because I really feel, deep down in my heart that, Republicans are just as patriotic as everybody else, and they want a country handed off to the next generation that is just as strong as the one we inherited. You and I grew up in a country where our parents and grandparents used to say, I want to give to my kids and my grandkids a better country than the one I got. And are we even trying to do that anymore? I mean, I hope so, but we can't. We're not going to be giving the next generation a better country if it's a place where one segment of the population is referred to as the enemy of the people, and we're at each other's throats. This is not the kind of political climate we should be handing off to the next generation.